demand education in this country. The money that they spending on Iraq and these corporate bailouts and stuff, we could have education, we could have health care, we could have everything that a civilized society needs to function if they wasn't spending it on this foolishness.
And you made a very good point, man, and I have to jump on that when it comes to my mind, because in one of these articles, I can't find it, but it was the Reverend Al Sharpton who said that the new civil rights arena really, in truth, is education. And you really can't get away from that, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan teach that your educational system is the foundation of your society. And
Absolutely.
so it's like you're speaking about dumbing down the people. If you got a dumb people, then you don't have a future as a nation. Well, and so at some point, you're absolutely right. Barack, but not just Barack, it's all of us, have to focus on true, purposeful education. Because we got a bunch of dumb people walking around here.
Brother, could you read this, what you read earlier to me before the show started, right here where it talks about 1922?
All right.
Check that out.
And this is an article for our viewers that appears on page 19 of the Final Call News paper. And on page 19, the article is always written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and on page 20, it's Minister Farrakhan. But this article comes out of Message to the Black Man, which is a book that was published by the Nation of Islam, written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1973. And it reads, I recall in 1922 or 1923, when a debate was taking place in Congress concerning appropriation of funds for Howard University, a school set aside to train my people in the nation's capital. A senator said this, and it is in the records to be examined in effect. What would be the need of the government appropriating money to educate Negroes? He said that they would not teach our people the science of modern warfare, defense, birth control, or chemistry. He knew these were things free people must know in order to protect, preserve, and advance themselves.
Absolutely. And so let's examine that for a minute. Now, this senator said, why would we educate some Negroes? 100 years before that, in the 1820s, a senator stood up and bragged that they had cut off every avenue of light to the venue of light to the Negro.
Right.
And he said if their plan was effective, they would be reduced to the beast of the field. Is it a surprise to us that we had to fight up until 1954 to get the schools desegregated?
Right.
Then we spent another 20 years trying to make them fulfill a promise that they passed in 1954 to desegregate. The schools didn't get desegregated until 1974, really, with the busing. They started busing in 74. And then in 1994, they ended busing. Now the schools is back segregated again, and black students and Latinos is getting inferior education. You see what I'm saying? This is in the United States. So education, man, of people who are not educated can be led astray, easily led astray. And that's what's been happening to us for, all of these years.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is right and exact.
Absolutely. Now, on page 4 and 5 of this edition of the Final Call, there are a couple of articles, man, that were very enlightening. The first one reads, Symposium Brings Voices of Change to Howard University, and it deals with a Refresh the World Symposium that was hosted by Spike Lee. And the other one reads, Hope, Excitement Don't Negate Need for Struggle. And that one's dealing with a panel of celebrities, including Russell Simmons, MC Lyte, Young Jeezy, Dick Gregory, Ayanna Van Zant, and Susan Taylor. And they were talking about a lot of the things that we've been talking about this evening in regards to just because Barack has won the presidency, that's the beginning of the work. It's not the end. And we don't need to be jumping up and down, waving our hands, shouting like we won. Thing just started. And for our people, we've been struggling the whole time, so it really just started. You know what I'm saying? We're just beginning to be afforded some of the opportunities to be allowed to play on a, I won't say equal playing field, but a little less uneven than it has been in the past. You know what I'm saying? You talked about earlier what's going on in Palestine, and I just wanted to ask you again, just on that, the policy issues that Barack is going to have to deal with. Like this year started out with 3 young black men getting shot, you know, despite the fact that this brother was about to be inaugurated. The one in Oakland, then there's been a couple of other instances in Houston and a couple other cities in America where
hate crimes against black people have went up since Barack Obama won the election back in November.
Right.
Hate crimes against there's some white boys that they got on trial in New York that on the night that Barack Obama won the election, they went out and just randomly looked for black men to attack all along the streets in like Long Island, New York.
Right.
So Barack Obama represents a great thing for us, and we need to examine it. But like I said, we need to keep pressure on them, like what's happening in Palestine with Israel right now. Israel is a racist state. Let me repeat that. Israel is a racist state. They are a state for Jewish people. Okay?
True.
For Jewish people. The United States supports this Jewish state in the taking of land and building settlements from Palestinian people who are indigenous to that land.
Right.
Most of these Jewish people that are living in Palestine, which they call Israel today, aren't even indigenous to that part of the world. These are European Jews.
Right.
A lot of them Ashkenazi Jews from Poland, from the Ukraine, from Yugoslavia and different places like that.
Right.
They have no historical connection to the so-called Middle East at all.
True.
And the United States is propping up this government, supplying them with weaponry and arms and information to suppress not only the Palestinians, but all other Arab neighbors around them. Supply them with nuclear weapons, surpassing proliferation treaties and all of this kind of stuff. The state of Israel, like I said, the only way we're going to have peace in the Middle East if the United States goes to the table, if Barack Obama gets Hillary Clinton to go over there and be an honest broker of peace. But when you examine her record, she's more hawkish than Barack Obama. You see? And Hamas was elected by the people over there. They should respect that, since democracy is supreme in the Western mindset. They had a democratic process. Hamas won the election. They should respect that. But they're not respecting that, because this so-called Jewish nation, Israel, they say that they have a right to that land, number one, because God said that they could have the land, and number two, because of what they experienced in World War II with the Holocaust. And I'm for Jewish people having a homeland,
of course,
but not at the expense of other people.
Exactly. Now, what did you think about the timing of their launching that attack on the Palestinians right before the inauguration of Barack Obama?
Well, it was right around Christmas. And it was when a lot of the a lot of people are on vacation in the media. They thought that they could do it under the cover of night, and it was around the holidays, people not really paying attention. But their objectives weren't met. Hamas still got rockets, they still got tunnels, and they are still in power. And they're more powerful now than they was a couple of months ago, because they fought Israel. See, only thing you got to do over in the Arab country is 10,000 of your people could be murdered, and only 20 of their people could be murdered. But if you stood up to them and you fought them and you still intact after the fight is over, that means you won. And that's how Arabs think. And that's how they think in Palestine. So Hamas is more emboldened, and the party Fatah that got Mahmoud Abbas in it, they more weakened now. So Israel didn't solve none of their objectives but going over there and slaughtering 2,000 people.
Right.
Mostly men, women and children.
Of course, it always is.
And we're told that Hamas is the terrorist, but Hamas killed, what, 20 Israelis?
Soldiers, yeah.
The Israelis killed 2,000 Palestinians, but we call Hamas the terrorist. No, it's the state of Israel that is the terrorist.
True. True indeed. Now I want to read something